1 week to go to the US election. I'm on a plane tomorrow. I can't wait to meet Megyn Kelly. We'll do so for you next week. But in the meantime, we continue our chats weekly here on the telly. Megyn, the Super Bowl is just a week away.
Yeah, it's so bizarre and exciting and frustrating and nerve-wracking for many. I was saying on my show today, I also have some worries about it. I definitely want it to go Trump's way. I've made that clear in the past, but I do think people should take a deep breath. Like, it's kind of amusing to me, I'm not going to lie, to see all the leftists absolutely melting down. Like, they're crying literally every day on MSNBC. They're crying, Paul. There's no crying in politics. Stop that. Grow up. Put your big girl and boy panties on and get through the next week or months. And we'll know eventually who won the race. And it could be Trump. Newsflash, Morning Joe. It could be Trump. I just think, like, I'm not one of those people who think the fate of the republic depends on how this goes. It's definitely going to be a massive battle if Trump loses to maintain America as we know it. But I believe that we can fight that battle and we could win it even without the presidency. But it's always sort of a tell to see these leftists who just melt down over the wrong word choice here or there in like full emotional breakdown mode right now. And it definitely tells you that they're feeling what we're feeling, which is the momentum is with him.
Now, the Harris supporters in the media, they are starting to realise that this thing may not end up going their way, and they are in full meltdown. They even brought on a ridiculous host from MSNBC with all the fake tears in the world. They are not coping.
No one lobbied harder for Trump in 2016 than Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough on Morning Joe. No one. I watched it every day. They had him on time and time again. They did town hall after town hall. They licked his boots. It was like a threesome on the air. It should have been having an R rating put on the bottom of the screen with those three. And now suddenly he's Hitler. Now, as it turns out, we had a threesome with Hitler. Big reveal. And now, I don't know if it's her guilt or what, but she's truly in tears and breathlessly warning us that he is going to murder us, that the women, we're all going to be gone. All the women are dying if Donald Trump becomes president. And she's sitting next to a bunch of wingnuts, including Whoopi Goldberg, who adds her 2 cents. And her 2 cents are Trump is going to break up interracial marriages and replace, I guess, the black partner with the white partner because he only wants the whites to be together, even though his vice presidential running mate is married to a woman of color. I guess he's going to have to start right there. Usha Vance has got to go. Got to replace her with a whitey. I mean, it's just so absurd. They've lost their minds. They've lost the plot. And to me, it's kind of just fun because only the farthest left person would buy into any of these hysterics. So I guess they enjoy getting themselves all worked up emotionally, but they're not persuading anyone. So they just undermine their whole message with these hysterics.
And the thing that always sends me crazy about these people, there's a difference between legal immigration and illegal immigration. There are 10 million people that have crossed the border into the country. In the same way you and I wouldn't be able to just walk onto the set of The View. Countries need borders.
Right. Or, you wouldn't let somebody who didn't actually belong in the cast of a play walk out onto the set on Broadway and just act like they belonged. There are certain requirements. But I will say this, Trump, when he's given interviews on his immigration plans behind closed doors, but on the record with places like the Wall Street Journal, he has telegraphed that you have to have heart in enforcing the immigration policies that he's promising, including deportation. And I don't think, and I realize this will be upsetting to people like Ann Coulter, who are really hardline immigration activists. I don't think Trump will deport the people who have been here for 20 years and have married an American and have American kids. I think he's just saying, I'm going to deport them all. Trump is going to deport the ones who are here, who got here recently, who are criminals of any kind, and whose background we don't know enough about, or who are suspected terrorists. I mean, that's who's going to go. Those people actually could and should be rounded up and kicked out. I don't have to tell my Aussie friends this. It's not an inhumane thing to do. It's not an unprecedented thing to do. And the fact that the American people aren't used to seeing it done doesn't mean it shouldn't be done. We've reached capacity. The country's full. There's a story every day in random local newspapers about how they've had to close another civic center because they had to divert the tax money to support the illegal immigrants, or they've had to kill whatever school program because they've had to divert the tax money to support the illegal immigrants. Town halls, just go down the list. A lot of public services and public places have been shuttered because all the money's been given to people who have absolutely no right to be here, some of whom are actually committing crimes. They got to go.
Now, I think Trump had a spectacular event today. He was meeting with what are called angel mums, and these are the mums of people that have been killed by illegals in the country. The ad, I showed it a bit earlier in the day, was absolutely heart-wrenching. That and his economic message, well, that's what's going to win it for him. But what do you think he could do to lose it between now and then?
Yeah. More stuff like the Madison Square Garden thing won't help. I don't know if that would make him lose it. I don't think what happened at MSG will make him lose it either. But, to me, it reminded me of when I was in college and I dated the captain of the Syracuse lacrosse team, who was a great guy. And we went on a lot of dates, double dates with lacrosse players, great times. When the lacrosse team would get together and have a party, all 70 of them, like mostly the guys chilling out, having beers, but I wanted nothing to do with that. That was too much for me as a woman. A bunch of men all together drinking and having a great time and getting rowdy. I get it. There's a place for that. Most women would not want to be in the middle of it. And I had the same feeling watching that MSG rally. There is no place for me or women like me who don't like Kamala, but don't want to hear her referred to as the Antichrist and don't want to have her called out as a potential hooker. I mean, I don't like the woman. I don't like these kind of talk. Is this unnecessary? There's a lot of fertile ground if you want to mock Kamala Harris on the stuff she's actually running on or is. This stuff is just gratuitous and says something about you, the commentator. So that was a total fail. That strain of what happened at MSG and took away from what was in many ways a very great rally. Trump did great. It wasn't Trump this time. It was the people setting him up. So that was unfortunate. I don't know that that's going to make Trump lose. I think people have already kind of baked in their opinions at this point. Is it? And they're like, the left is like, people are protesting. Puerto Ricans are protesting. And they show the videotape. It's like 5 people standing outside of a Starbucks. I think we're good. But you don't want to do anything to hurt yourself in the last 7 days. So be careful. Now is the time to be perfect. And I think Trump's other message of, I will protect you. While some didn't respond well to it, I did, because a president does have that power in large measure. A president is the commander in chief. A president can get us involved in international conflicts where my child has to go. Either one now, my boys or my girl. A president can help keep illegal immigrants off the streets of America, so that little girls like Jocelyn Ungaro do not get murdered in the middle of the night. And a president can encourage a stricter hand in law enforcement and encourage at the local level DAs who are not soft on crime, who actually put bad guys in jail and keep them there. It's not exactly a federal law enforcement matter, though it could be. So in all those ways, Trump can keep us safe. And that's, I think, what he's going with, because the left wants us to believe abortion, abortion, abortion. That's how women are going to die under Trump. And they're completely ignoring, before my daughter or anybody's daughter gets to the point where, God forbid, they think about an abortion, we need to keep them safe. We need to get them to the age of majority. We need to get them through a robust and happy childhood. And allowing an open border, allowing soft on crime policies, DAs and so on, and laws doesn't help. I care much more about that than I do about what exactly will be the way in which my daughter could get an abortion when she's 30, So I just think the Democrats have their priorities mixed up on that. And I think the average American, including my swing voter friends, in the Midwest, will respond to what Trump's doing right now on safety.
I've got to say, nice little detail behind Donald Trump today was his sort of Bob the Builder catchphrase for the end of it. Remember, Bob the Builder, yes, we'll fix it. Well, it's now Trump will fix it. Kamala broke it, Trump will fix it. I think that's a very clever final line for him. You were on with Bill Maher in the States over the weekend, and of course, as always, you looked $1 million, but more importantly, you slapped him around with a bit of common sense. He says that he is certain Harris is going to win. Did you see some doubt in his eyes?
I mean, he definitely wants Kamala to win. It's real for him. He does not like Donald Trump. His critics would say he has Trump derangement syndrome. And he, I think, genuinely believes Kamala can do the job. I mean, we have a serious disagreement on that. But I credit Bill Maher for being one of the last shows in America where both parties will come on. He has like strong conservatives, not just the ones you can kick around and make fools out of. And of course, plenty of liberals will go on the show. And he has an audience of mostly liberals, but some people who are on the center right will watch it. So that's a rarity. And it's great to be able to go in front of that audience and share some of my ideas and our ideas and the things that matter to people like you and me. So it's a great opportunity, and I appreciate Bill giving me the forum. Yeah, it was much better between us, I think, on his show than it was on our show. I think he's now settled into the fact that I'm a Trump supporter, which really took him by surprise when he came on my show. He was really unhappy with me and kind of felt, betrayed, I think, in a way. But he's gotten over it, and now it's just decided to have a meaningful conversation about it. And we had a great time backstage. He was very polite, very kind. I'm really hoping that maybe some of his audience heard me and heard the nonsense about the fascism, that they're being lied to. This is BS, and heard the stuff about the trans insanity. And some actually came up to me afterward and said, because there was some backstage, you really opened my eyes. So maybe they have something new to think about now.
One of the other huge things this week is that Donald Trump went on with Joe Rogan. Apparently, J.D. Vance is doing the same before the election. More than 40 million, almost 50 million people have already watched that on YouTube, let alone podcast and all the rest. And it seems to me that if this election is to be remembered by anything, apart from who's going to win, is that this feels in many ways for America like it is sort of the off-TV election, as a whole bunch of people are seeking out people like yourself in new platforms to get the message around the gatekeeper and straight to the voter.
Well, I mean, I think most of the country is actually in the space that we're discussing, where they can tolerate opposing viewpoints. They can tolerate somebody who doesn't share their party affiliation or who voted for the candidate they don't like. I think it's mostly the loons who can't. I mean, like who, I said this publicly on Twitter. I didn't say who the friend was, but Bryan Cranston, very famous actor over here. He was in Breaking Bad, among many other shows and movies. He was dear friends with a dear friend of mine, and he ended the friendship because my dear friend is a Trump supporter. He ended their lifelong friendship over that. That's a loon. But I think the average person might say, how can you vote for her? How can you vote for him? Okay, let's go get a meal. And, things are normal between them. They don't have to make the whole friendship about politics. So I really think that is like that model of having out disagreements in a respectful way, but then having a drink after is closer to how we actually live. And, people sometimes in our business can get too fooled because we spend our lives in the mud, that more people are as in the mud as we are than really are. Right. And so it's a good reminder that get out there, meet real people. I always love when somebody says, oh, I'm sorry, I don't watch the news. I know that's somebody I want to be friends with. Right. Like, great. Let's do something else. Let's talk about something else.
Now, I think I've been too polite about Kamala Harris. Come on, it's a week to go. We've only got a few days left. What about her and yet another new accent? This one was being released of her as a Latina, and before that, of course, as an African-American preacher. Are you loving Kamala's accents?
Yes, I love her budding drama career. It's wonderful. She should keep trying on new personas. We've had, Jamaican Kamala. Yeah, man. Oh, I can't believe it, Then we've had Pastor Kamala, like, nothing like joy in the morning. I think that one might be my favorite. The Hispanic, right? She did the Latina thing. That was a good one too. I can't even try to do that one. I'm like, there's so many great ones. I love her confidence. Like, part of what's joyful about watching Kamala, she did promise us joy, is watching somebody who really doesn't know who she is figure it out live, right? There was a movie, I don't know, 25 years ago involving Julia Roberts, and I don't remember what it was called, but I remember the through line about her character was she would, Runaway Bride. She would order her eggs, however the boyfriend of the moment ordered his eggs. Scrambled if right. And this reporter went back to do a story on her and who she really is and put this together and realized, oh, she just does whatever the guy. That's Kamala. Like she's just, she morphs into whatever she's, oh, now she's Hispanic. Now she's black. Now she's a preacher. Now she's Latina. Now, and I am here for it, as the kids say.
She's the best in the business. We love her. Megyn Kelly, Megyn Kelly Show. Find it, podcast, YouTube, or live on Sirius XM. We'll see you in the States next week, mate.
I'm excited to see you, Paul. Safe travels over here.